The ANC is not only crippling the South African economy and impoverishing South Africans all over, but it is also measurably hurting the people of the entire world. You see, an unspoken truth not even the mainstream economists dare to mention is that the collapse of this country's infrastructure and ports and railways, mining output and industrial productivity at the southern gateway of Africa has actually cost the global economy trillions of dollars over the past 3 decades. On this particular channel, we have done a lot of research in the past where we highlighted just how much damage the ANC has done to the South African economy. We've amplified, for example, the trillions of dollars that the ANC has cost this country in infrastructure damage alone. And we have reiterated time and time again how the ANC government steals and wastes taxpayer money. But while the ANC's destruction of the South African economy has been well documented across alternative and mainstream sources alike, one aspect often overlooked is the immense damage that it has done to the global economy as a result of the ANC's destructive domestic policies. After all, when the ANC took over South Africa in 1994, this wasn't just another developing African economy. It was the industrial, mining, financial, port, rail and logistical hub of the southern tip of Africa. If this hub stagnates, the damage is not merely domestic. It weakens a strategic node in the world economy, the economy of trade as well as the world trade routes. Stay tuned because in today's video we are going to highlight how much damage the ANC has done to the global economy, the world economy, and in effect directly contributed to making not only South Africans, but ordinary people across the world poorer, and why the world would benefit massively from a regime change in South Africa. South Africans have felt the devastating impact of the ANC's destruction in very real terms. In terms of purchasing power, South Africa's share of the global GDP fell from 0.75 of the world in 1994 to almost half of that in 2025 at 0.48. That means its relative global economy weight shrank by about 36% exactly. When you take into account that South Africa had merely maintained its 1994 global share, its economy would be about 56% larger today than it is. World Bank data puts South Africa's current nominal GDP at about $401 billion US. A 56% larger economy would imply an economy of roughly $626 billion. A gap of about $225 billion every year shared across our entire population in the last year alone. Remember, this is what the figures would have looked like if South Africa merely kept up with international economic growth without accomplishing anything exceptional. Think of everything that could have been done to alleviate poverty and suffering in this country if we merely continue down the same path as the previous government, economically speaking, to continue to grow our economy at an average worldwide pace. And if we weren't just constantly held back and crippled by this corrupt, incompetent and downright evil ANC regime. In fact, extrapolated over 3 decades, a simple triangular estimate gives you more than $3 trillion lost in nominal economic output. And what I mean by this is not just that South Africa is $3 trillion US poorer than it would have been with average economic growth since 1994, but that the planet and the people inhabiting it has lost something in the order of $3 trillion in foregone production, trade, investment, tax revenue for that matter, infrastructure development and regional spillover growth, because Africa's most advanced and biggest economy at the time has grossly underperformed for the past 32 years. You see, we as the citizens of this country have of course felt this impact of this economic devastation the most of anyone. But the damage that this current regime and the ANC leadership of each of the past 5 presidencies have done to the global economy of the world is specifically amplified once you zoom into South Africa's strategic sectors. For example, South Africa supplies roughly 72% of global refined platinum group metal production, while also holding about 80% of the world's known manganese resources. These resources, of course, are critical industrial inputs used in catalytic converters and steel making, of course, batteries, which is becoming a massive market share of the global economy, hydrogen technologies, electronics, and the broader industrial supply chains. Moreover, this country's ports and railways also matter immensely to global commerce. South Africa occupies one of the most geographically important maritime positions on Earth, at the southern gateway between the Atlantic and Indian Oceans, the only trade route that is available to any ships coming from Europe to the east or America to the east if for example, as we see, the Strait of Hormuz in Iran is closed because of conflicts, let's call it the constant conflicts in the Middle East. For centuries, even before these straits were opened, the Cape Sea route has functioned as one of the world's great commercial arteries, linking Europe, the Middle East, Asia, and the eastern coast of Africa, of course. Of course, today, this trade route will become and may become just as important as it was during the time of the Dutch East India Company, because of the fact that we do not foresee the conflict in the Middle East going anywhere in the next few decades at least. This means South Africa's ports and railways are not merely domestic infrastructure serving the people of South Africa. They specifically form part of the logistical backbone of global trade. Durban, the country's busiest container port, handles more than 40% of South Africa's container traffic and serves as the gateway not only for South Africa, but also for the largest part of the sub-Saharan African continent. Yet, for years, exporters, shipping firms and logistic analysts have warned that failures at Transnet have severely constrained throughput and slowed exports from this harbour, damaged the supply reliability, and increased the cost across multiple sectors massively to export anything out of Africa to any other place on Earth. The consequences ripple far beyond South African borders and negatively impact the global economy as a whole. After all, when congestion or inefficiency develop at these major southern African ports, global shipping firms must absorb all of these delays and the damages, the rerouting costs, the insurance increases, and the supply chain uncertainty, making products coming from Africa so much more expensive without the people here in Africa benefiting anyway from it. When our rail systems fail, our mining exports slow. When our ports become congested, as they are, shipping costs rise. When containers sit idle, global chains absorb delays and the cost increases, making it more expensive for the people on the other side buying it, and even eating into the actual profits that the sellers here on African soil makes from these products. When exporters cannot move their materials inefficiently, manufacturers on other continents face their shortages or even higher input costs, making their costs higher for their citizens. Every single bottleneck at these very important harbours, such as Durban, such as Richards Bay, or on the freight rail network of Transnet, does more than merely hurt South Africa's economy, South African companies, and South African individual citizens. It introduces a friction into the international trade itself, which costs so much more, not just for South Africans or Africans for that matter, but for anyone trading with South Africa as a whole. The hard reality is that when you consider South Africa's mineral and strategic importance not only to the African economy for selling it, but to the global economy for buying it, it becomes evident that what the ANC has done in terms of destroying this country's infrastructure and economic productivity has not only financially crippled the people of South Africa, but also severely paralyzed the global economy. As such, liberating South Africa from the ANC's tyranny is not of the utmost importance for the people of this country alone, but for the global economy as a whole. A liberated South Africa would not merely experience local economic recovery, it could once again become one of the principal engines of growth for the entire African continent and a major strategic asset to the global economy as a whole. A functioning rail system, efficient ports, a stable electricity grid, secure property rights, very important, and a productive mining sector would dramatically increase global trade efficiency, reduce shipping and manufacturing costs for everyone across the globe, and strengthen critical mineral supply chains to unlock hundreds of billions of US dollars in additional economic activity, not only for South Africa but for the world. The economic revival of South Africa would truly benefit industries, investors, consumers, and supply chains across the entire globe. Look, regime change in South Africa is truly something the whole world desperately needs. Get rid of this current regime's grip on corruption and extreme and total incompetence, and this country could bounce back as fast as the powerhouse it used to be on the global scale. Suddenly, the world gets flooded with the platinum, the manganese, and other critical minerals that power the new industrial age of electric cars and clean energy and electronics and pretty much every other modern factory out there. South Africa's ports and railways would actually work again, slashing the shipping costs and wiping out those insane bottlenecks and insurance costs, etc., and everything I actually named in the rest of the video that slow down trade between Europe and Asia, America, and the rest of Africa. A stable, growing South Africa would once more become the engine pulling the entire continent forward with it. Lower prices at the shops for everyone, stronger supply chains that don't keep breaking, hundreds of billions of dollars in new trade and investment, and literally trillions in extra global growth over the next few decades. A free and properly run state here at the southern tip of Africa does not just rescue the people here at home. It really makes the ordinary people everywhere in the world richer, safer, and a whole lot better off than they currently are due to the ANC. Earlier in this video, we mentioned that the cost of ANC incompetence to South Africa's infrastructure amounts to trillions of dollars. We did a full analysis on this and highlighted the real numbers in a recent analysis video, which you can view by clicking on this link appearing right here, which I would highly recommend watching, as it will really add value to your life. And please do support our work by becoming a paying member of the Willem Petzer Group. You can do so by simply following these easy steps, messaging your name and sign me up to the number on the screen, and invest in us to make videos like these every single day. Thank you, goodbye, and God bless.